Who the fuck?
The film opens with a wide desert, surrounded by tall rocky mountains, a perfect spot for dangerous predators. A helicopter soon appears carrying Richard and his girlfriend Jennifer as they head to Richard's house in the middle of the desert. They plan to enjoy some time alone before Richard's yearly hunting trip with his friends. Before leaving, the pilot gives Richard some peyote as a gift. A little later, Richard goes inside and finds Jennifer, who looks confident and attractive. Not long after, the two share a passionate moment together in the bedroom. Later that day, Richard gets a phone call from a woman who reveals that he already has a wife and children. The conversation goes smoothly because Richard's wife thinks he's just going to the desert for a hunting trip. The next morning, Jennifer, dressed only in her underwear, walks into the kitchen to get some water. Suddenly, Jennifer is surprised by the unexpected arrival of Richard's friends, who show up a day earlier than planned for their hunting trip. Richard is clearly upset because he wanted to keep his affair with Jennifer a secret. Since his friends are already there, he reluctantly agrees to let them, Stan and Dmitri, stay. As they introduce themselves, Stan seems particularly excited to meet Jennifer. That night, they relax by the pool and enjoy the stunning desert view. Meanwhile, Dmitri amuses himself with his binoculars and appears curious about the gift the pilot gave Richard. Richard explains that the item is a strong hallucinogenic drug that causes intense effects when used. He says that even a small dose could knock out an entire football team. He also tells a story about someone who once took too much and, while under its influence, cut off his own leg without feeling any pain. To avoid any problems, Richard tells Jennifer to keep the drug somewhere safe. But after finding out what it is, Jennifer becomes curious. Instead of putting it away, she hides it inside her necklace. Later, she goes outside and performs a seductive dance to entertain the men. After a night of fun, Jennifer becomes the center of attention, like a showgirl surrounded by men who can't take their eyes off her. Stan is the most excited, especially when Jennifer invites him to join her in a sensual dance. The next morning, when Jennifer wakes up, Stan greets her and invites her to have breakfast with him. While Richard is away, Stan tries to take advantage of the moment to get closer to Jennifer, but she ignores him and quietly returns to her room. Even after being turned down, Stan doesn't stop and continues to go after her inside the room. Stan feels hurt and confused about why Jennifer is avoiding him, especially since he thought she liked him the night before. Jennifer bluntly tells him that he's not her type, mostly because he's too short. Her words offend him deeply, and even though he starts to resent her, his desire for her only grows stronger. Terrified and helpless, Jennifer is forced to endure the man's assault. A moment later, Dmitri walks in but stays silent, watching without saying a word. Instead of helping her, he walks away, turns on the TV, and raises the volume to cover Jennifer's screams. A few hours later, Richard returns to the house and notices that his two friends are unusually quiet. Stan tells him there was a small problem with Jennifer, but doesn't explain what happened. When Richard checks on her, Jennifer begs him to call the helicopter immediately because she wants to go home right away. Seeing his mistress crying non-stop, Richard begins to understand what happened. He leaves the room and angrily yells at his friends for their actions. When Jennifer wakes up, she keeps saying she wants to go home. But Richard tells her that his friends will apologize and that he has already given her a large sum of money to help her forget what happened. Unable to control her emotions, Jennifer threatens to tell Richard's wife about their affair if the helicopter doesn't come to pick her up. Enraged, Richard lashes out, scaring her and causing her to run away. When his two friends see her trying to escape, they join Richard in chasing after her. Moments later, Jennifer's escape ends when she reaches a cliff with nowhere else to go. Soon after, Richard and his friends catch up and trap her near the edge. Feeling guilty, Richard tries to apologize for what happened. He then attempts to calm Jennifer down by calling the pilot to pick her up and take her home.
Yeah, and I would
Jennifer
like.
finally starts to calm down when she realizes her wish is being granted. But suddenly, Richard pushes her off the cliff, and she gets impaled on a tree during the fall. Stan and Dimitri are shocked, unable to believe that Richard actually did such a
Temps pour
thing.
chasser comme prévu.
Richard explains that letting Jennifer go would put them
Tous
in
les
danger
trois.
because their actions could send them to prison for 15 years. He also worries that his secret affair in the desert might be revealed to his wife. After that, Richard and his friends go back to the house to gather their hunting gear. They plan to come back later to clean up all evidence of the murder and continue their hunting trip as if nothing happened. The scene then shifts to Jennifer, still impaled and now covered in ants. Amazingly, she's still alive, most likely because the tree branches didn't hit her vital organs. Trapped on the tree, Jennifer struggles to break free and spots the lighter she always carries. Using all her strength, she grabs it and sets the dry branches on fire. The flames cause the branches to snap, helping her escape, even though one is still stuck in her body. Meanwhile, Richard and his friends are on their way to the spot to get rid of her body. Luckily, Jennifer hears the sound of their vehicle getting closer, so she quickly moves away from the area. The branch still stuck in her stomach makes it hard for her to move, but she manages to hide just in time. When the three men arrive and find that Jennifer is gone, they are shocked. They assume she was either rescued or somehow escaped on her own. The three men decide to climb down the cliff to look for Jennifer. After hearing them leave, Jennifer takes the chance to move farther away. The path down the cliff is long, so the men don't reach the area until it's already dark. They start to wonder how Jennifer could have disappeared so easily. At the same time, they spot traces of Jennifer's blood and quickly follow the trail. However, it eventually leads them to a lake where it suddenly stops. The three men then decide to split up to search for her, but Stan secretly feels scared and stays in the car, hoping Jennifer might come back there. Meanwhile, even though she has lost a lot of blood, Jennifer keeps running away with the little strength she has left. From a distance, she hears a vehicle searching for her. Panicking, she hides as Dimitri arrives on his quad bike. After failing to see her, he leaves. Jennifer has been hiding underwater, holding her breath so he won't spot her. When Jennifer reaches the shore, she spots Dimitri nearby and notices that he left his rifle next to his vehicle. Seeing an opportunity, she prepares to act. Caught off guard, Dimitri tries to stay calm as Jennifer moves toward him. But she quickly realizes he has tricked her. The rifle is unloaded and was left far from him on purpose. Jennifer manages to pull a knife from his pocket and stabs him to death, leaving his body in the lake. She then takes his gear and continues her escape. But her vehicle soon runs out of fuel, forcing her to walk again with the branch still stuck in her stomach. Not far away, she finds a cave and decides to rest there. Her injuries are severe and hard to treat, causing her intense pain. When Jennifer notices the necklace she's wearing, she suddenly remembers the drug she hid inside it and how powerful it is. Without hesitation, she takes it despite its awful taste. She forces herself to swallow it, desperate for its effects. Soon after, she starts feeling strange sensations throughout her body that she can't explain. The drug's hallucinogenic effects start to take over, making Jennifer hear voices and see vivid hallucinations. Half conscious, she begins treating her wound using whatever she can find. Since she can no longer feel pain, she's able to do something that would normally be unbearably painful. The knife slices through the skin on her stomach, but Jennifer stays calm and doesn't show any pain. After pulling the branch out, she heats a drink can and presses it against the wound to stop the bleeding. The next day, the scene shifts to Stan sleeping in the Jeep, while Richard is shown throwing away a dead animal after failing to find Jennifer and only managing to hunt some game. At this point, they still don't know that Dimitri is already dead. After waking up, Stan goes to the lake to wash his face. Suddenly, he's shocked when Dimitri's body floats to the surface. Unlike Richard, Stan keeps his anger under control, but he's convinced that Jennifer is the one who killed his best friend. With no other choice, they throw their friend's body into the lake. After that, Richard angrily blames Stan for staying in the car instead of helping Dimitri. The two men then leave, trying to find another way to track down Jennifer. Meanwhile, Jennifer has recovered from her injuries and notices a bird-shaped mark from the beer can left on her stomach after the treatment. She then grabs her rifle and leaves the cave. It turns out to be only a nightmare caused by the drug's effects, forcing Jennifer to relive the same terrifying dreams. When she finally wakes up completely, she gets ready to move on. But this time, she's not running away. She's out for revenge. The once weak and helpless Jennifer has now become strong and fearless. Fueled by emotion and armed with a shotgun, Jennifer starts searching for Richard and Stan in the desert. Meanwhile, the two men find the quad bike Jennifer used and decide to split up to look for her. Richard heads out first, while Stan, still hurting from his injured nose, uses a mirror to check the damage. However, he doesn't realize that the reflection from his mirror gives away his location to Jennifer. Without hesitation, Jennifer heads in his direction. Even though she's barefoot and injured, she keeps chasing him across the desert. After driving for a while, Stan's vehicle starts to run out of fuel. Jennifer takes the opportunity to aim at him with a rifle fitted with an 8x scope. Even though she has no experience, she tries to hit his vital areas. Her shot hits Stan in the shoulder, and she hears him scream in pain. But when Jennifer stands up again, Stan is already gone. Jennifer tracks the man who assaulted her by following the blood splattered on the ground. Meanwhile, the wounded Stan wraps a sock around his shoulder to stop the bleeding. Jennifer eventually loses his trail when the bloodstains stop, finding only his shoe left behind. Hiding nearby, Stan loads his gun, getting ready to shoot her from behind. However, he has trouble aiming because of the gunshot wound in his shoulder. His shot misses and only grazes Jennifer's ear. Hurt, but still conscious, Jennifer quickly runs away while Stan keeps shooting at her. Using the light from a broken flashlight, she tries to stop him from chasing her. Fortunately, the glass shards cut Stan's feet, and he struggles to pull them out. After removing the glass, he's unable to run, so he goes back to the car to keep chasing Jennifer. The deep wound on Stan's leg makes it hard for him to press the gas pedal, but his anger pushes him to ignore the pain. Jennifer eventually kills the man who once assaulted her. After that, she hears Richard's voice on the walkie-talkie, which makes her even angrier. Meanwhile, Richard grows frustrated because he still can't find her. Stan doesn't show up at the meeting spot and doesn't answer Richard's calls on the walkie-talkie. Tired and frustrated, Richard decides to head back home. When he arrives, he looks tense and uneasy about everything that's happened. He starts to believe that Stan, who never returned, was probably killed by Jennifer. He plans to leave the desert by calling the helicopter pilot to pick him up. After that, he quickly washes up and gets ready to go. Suddenly, he hears a strange noise and decides to check where it's coming from, even though he's completely naked at the time. He suspects that Jennifer has come to the house to kill him, but he doesn't find anything unusual inside or outside. Suddenly, the sound of the TV startles him, confirming his fear that Jennifer is really there. In that moment, Richard feels completely powerless as Jennifer points her shotgun at him. Jennifer's bullet hits Richard in the stomach, and the two begin shooting at each other. Despite his pain, Richard forces himself to move away. Jennifer keeps chasing him, but as she nears the room, she doesn't realize Richard is already inside, waiting to shoot. Fortunately, the trail of blood from Richard's wound reveals his location, so Jennifer takes another route. Growing weaker from blood loss, Richard uses a food wrapper to cover his wound. Soon after, Jennifer spots him, and a chase begins. At one point, Jennifer slips on the blood that has spread across the floor. The fall gives Richard an easy chance to attack, while Jennifer, weak and exhausted, can hardly fight back. Desperate, she strikes his stomach wound. Then she grabs the rifle and ends his life with a final shot. In the end, the three men who abused and nearly killed her get what they deserve, and Jennifer's revenge is complete. Covered in blood, she takes a few steady, satisfied steps outside. Then she stops and turns around as she hears the sound of a helicopter approaching.